Hello everyone. Welcome to today's story. We're going to learn why hard work and persistence are the true keys to achieving our dreams. Along the way, you'll also pick up new English words and see how to use them in sentences, a fun way to practice while enjoying a story. So stay with us until the end. In a bustling town, the morning buzzed with activity. Villagers were busy trading goods, heading to the fields, or opening their small shops. Among them, under a shady tree, sat a young man who seemed completely lost in his own world. This was Theo, a boy both strong and healthy, yet strangely lacking ambition. Tall and fit, he had everything a young man might need, but he refused to work. Despite his laziness, Theo constantly dreamed of wealth and success, hoping that fortune would magically fall into his lap. Even his meals were often provided by kind villagers who pitied him. One morning, as the town stirred to life, a wealthy merchant began distributing fresh milk to those in need. Villagers lined up to receive it, but Theo, as usual, watched from his spot under the tree, wondering if luck would finally smile on him. The wealthy merchant was handing out pots of fresh milk as a gesture of gratitude for a bountiful year. Theo, hearing the news, didn't waste a moment. He quickly joined the queue and soon held a pot of creamy, delicious milk in his hands. Overjoyed, he hurried home to prepare it. Using the firewood already stacked at home, Theo set up the stove and boiled the milk, just as his father had taught him. Their small kitchen was ready, with 2 pieces of bread already laid out on the table. Soon, the bubbling sound of the milk signaled it was ready. Theo poured himself a glass, enjoyed it with the bread for breakfast, and carefully set aside the remaining milk next to his bed. But after eating, Theo did not go to help his father in the fields. Instead, he lay down in his room and began daydreaming. If I could become rich, all my problems would disappear, he thought. His eyes drifted to the pot of milk beside him. In his imagination, the milk would turn into cheese by the next morning. He would sell it at the market and make some money. With that money, he'd buy a hen. The hen would lay eggs, and those eggs would hatch into chicks. He'd raise the chicks until they grew up, and soon he'd have a whole poultry farm, producing hundreds of eggs. In Theo's mind, wealth seemed just a few clever ideas away, if only effort weren't required. Theo's imagination kept flowing like a river. After selling all the chickens, I'll buy a few cows and start a dairy farm. Everyone in town will come to buy milk from me. I'll become incredibly rich, he thought. His daydream grew bigger by the minute. I'll buy jewelry so valuable that even the king will shop from me. I'll marry a beautiful girl from a wealthy family, and we'll have a handsome son. And if he ever becomes lazy, I'll teach him a lesson: he mustn't waste his life like I almost have. Caught up in his fantasy, Theo grabbed a stick from beside him and pretended to punish a lazy child. But in his excitement, he swung the stick too wildly, and smack, it hit the pot of milk, spilling it all over the floor. Only then did reality hit him. Theo froze, staring at the mess he had created. Disappointment washed over him as he realized his dreams were still far away and that he had just wasted a valuable pot of milk. With a heavy sigh, he cleaned up the spill and tried to refocus, realizing that fantasies alone wouldn't make him rich. Action, effort, and smart thinking were necessary if he truly wanted to change his life. The next morning, Theo decided to take a walk through the village, hoping that someone kind-hearted might be giving out charity again. But nothing had changed, life remained the same, poor and frustrating. Many of us, like Theo, often have grand dreams of achieving great things, yet we do nothing to turn them into reality. We sit idle, waiting for luck to come to us, and it becomes a truly shameful habit. What if, from now on, we made a rule for ourselves: our actions must match our aspirations? If we want to succeed, the key is hard work. If we want to be accomplished, the key is discipline. And if we want God's help, the key is prayer. Even those who feel lazy can achieve great things by changing their habits and taking consistent action. We can also learn new words from Theo's story. Aspirations mean strong hopes or ambitions to achieve something, like, she has big aspirations to become a doctor. Distribute means to give something to people, as in, the teacher distributed homework to all the students. And bountiful describes something large or abundant, for example, the farmer had a bountiful harvest this year. By practicing these words, we not only improve our English but also reinforce the lessons from Theo's story about effort, discipline, and persistence. From Theo's story, we can also learn some useful new words. For example, amount refers to a quantity of something, like when we say, the garden had a bountiful amount of vegetables this year. Imaginations are the ability to form ideas or pictures in your mind. Children often have very active imaginations. Poverty means the state of being extremely poor, as in, many people live in poverty despite working hard. Miserable describes being very unhappy or uncomfortable, such as feeling miserable after losing a favorite toy. Accidentally means without intending to or by mistake, like when someone accidentally drops a glass on the floor. Fantasy is an idea or dream that is not real, for example, imagining you could fly like a superhero. Being persistent means continuing to do something despite challenges, just like someone who keeps trying to solve a difficult puzzle until they succeed. Finally, generosity is the quality of being kind and giving, as shown when someone donates food to help others in need. Today, we not only enjoyed Theo's story about dreams, hard work, and clever thinking, but we also learned new words and practiced using them in sentences. Remember, learning English can be fun when you practice regularly. Keep listening, learning, and growing, and make sure to like, comment, and share how this story helped you improve your English. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next story, where we'll continue learning together.